What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another video. Welcome back to the channel, and we have an update for you on Action Figure Authority, the biggest brand name in graded action figures. They finally, mercifully, brought out their new website, and it's been up and down and up and down. And as this thumbnail says, it talks about new pricing. For a very brief time, they had some different prices, but they just updated the website, and I think that the prices have stayed the same, and we'll dig into all the details here in a second. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I like to cover Star Wars toys and comics, and I'd appreciate a like on this video if you liked it. I'd also like to hear your comments after we go through some of this data. The new website is finally out. They had promised it last fall. They said that a new website was going to be up in January of this year. Well, here we are in July, and they finally got it out, and it is a nice website. So let's go ahead and show you that. So CGAgrading.com. It used to also link to toygrader.com, but as of the making of this video, toygrader.com is not working. So just go to CGAgrading.com. And so here is the new homepage for AFA's website. And Microsoft Windows 10 called and asked for their format back, because this is very much a tile-y, lots of tiles going on. You know, very similar to Windows 10, and you know, but it looks great. Me personally, I love the way that it presents. There are some issues that we're going to talk about, but I wanted to talk about everything that is up, at least right now, on the website. And please keep in mind, this literally just went live about an hour ago, so who knows if things will change. The prices have already changed, which I'll talk about in a second. But their main web page just talks about some of the sliding cases that they have. And you know, all the different kind of acrylic cases that are offered for different toy lines, and they do have some kind of exclusives for very hard to find lines. The most notable one I saw was this Hungarian bootleg one, and that's pretty cool to see that one there on the main page. But I'll let you guys dig in and kind of play with the website. But there is a shopping tab here, and that's mainly for the sliding acrylic cases as well as for poly bags. And then they also have a submissions form area. And so if you go to the grading overview tab, it has a very similar feel and wording to what the old website had, and it just talks about the general process for filling out the forms, submitting it, and how they work once this submission has received. And I'll tell you this, that you know, oftentimes when you get the email from AFA, it says give us 8 weeks before we invoice you, and once you get invoiced, you're actually officially entered into their grading queue for their backlog. Well, they say 8 weeks, but my last batch of 15 vintage collection figures that I just sent in, it took them 2 days from receipt to being billed to being in the queue now for grading. So keep that in mind, is that they're moving a lot faster than they used to. My AFA batch that was part of the Great Turnaround Time experiment from back in January, that one did take 8 weeks. But they've really cut that down. It's 2 or 3 days now max from receipt to being invoiced and being included in the grading queue. So anyway, let's talk about the pricing, because I think that's why we're all watching this video, and that's to take a look at the pricing. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the prices for a very brief time were actually lower than what's shown on here. And for a little while there, I was like, AFA is going to be throwing down the gauntlet. They're going lower than they were previously. But they've since updated the website, and this is now live as of about 15 or 20 minutes ago. And the prices are the same. They are the same from where they were before the new website went out. And what's interesting about it is you have these two tiers that are still open. The Express and Economy tier for modern mint-on-card packaged items are still closed. But you can use the Premium tier, which is a $1,000 max value. But what's interesting is that it's 14 to 21 day turnaround times is what they're advertising. Now, will that actually be the case? I don't know. But if that actually holds up and they can start delivering stuff in 14 to 21 days, Collector Archive Services is in for a world of hurt, because CAS is running about 7 months right now here in the US, 7 to 7.5 months, based on my discussions with folks. So if AFA can actually deliver 14 to 21 day turnaround, again, that's a big if. You can advertise it all you want, but we'll see, because I'm going to send in probably in September another batch of vintage collection, probably 10 to 15 or so, and I'm going to use the Premium tier. That's what this is. So the price for that is $45, but as you know, that's the modern scale where AFA grades it on a 1 to 10 scale. Me personally, I don't like that. I like the 3-tier grading with the subscores of card, figure, and blister. But you can add that in right here, and that's $10 extra. So the price is the same. It's $55 for that, which again is still cheaper than CAS. CAS charges right now $60 or $59.99 for 3-tier grading on standard size mint on card 3 3/4 inch action figures. So AFA is cheaper for their premium tier. Their archival tier, which is advertised right now as 10 to 14 day turnaround for the modern scale, is $70 plus the $10 extra for 3-tier grading. So that would be $80 versus the $60 for CAS. But you're talking 10 to 14 day turnaround. So for example, let's say you had a VC20 Canadian Yoda, a very expensive item. You'd probably want to use this because it blows past the $1,000 value for most VC20 Canadian Yodas. And you would probably get the archival case for that. But if it can truly delivered in 10 to 14 days, that's pretty attractive for $80. So we'll see. Now let's go to the standard grading scale. So this would be like for vintage items, vintage Kenner items. That pricing has remained the same. The archival tier is $125. The premium tier, which again is advertised as 14 to 21 day turnaround, is $90. I just sent in a 45 back debut card, Luke Hoth on the Empire Strikes Back card. That I sent in for archival grading. Now I sent that in before these turnaround times were announced. And it's right now, AFA, at least on the invoice, said it's going to be done in September, which is about 2 to 2.5 months from invoicing. So we'll see if they deliver on that. But 10 to 14 day and 14 to 21 day turnaround, if they can actually deliver that going forward, AFA has my money. There's no question that I will use AFA going forward, with the exception of like customs and very kind of, you know, bootlegs, things like that, where CAS is the only game in town. But you know, advertising is one thing and actually delivering it is another. So we'll see. How about loose grading? So loose graded Star Wars figures, what does that look like? The pricing also has remained the same. As of right now, they have opened back up, apparently, the Express tier. This was closed for a while, to my knowledge. I'm going on memory. I don't have the old website in front of me. But the Express tier looks to be open again. It's 4+ weeks is what's advertised. That cost is $40 a figure. That is right in line with where Collector Archive Services charges. For $50, so $10 more, or about, you know, let's call that 25% more than what CAS charges, they're saying 14 to 21 day turnaround in the premium tier. Now, again, who knows if that'll hold up or not. The archival tier, which is their best tier and includes, it does not include the upgraded UV case. That has a max value of $5,000, so you'd have to use that if the loose figure is worth more than $1,000 on the open market. That is $70. If you want the UV upgrade, the archival case, the archival sticker on the loose graded Star Wars figure, that's another $10. So what's the takeaway? And there's other kind of pricing. You guys can check it out for baggies and for coins and things like that. But what is the takeaway from this new website? First, I really like the new design from AFA's website. I think that it was long overdue. The negative is that they still do not have online submission processes. They do have all the instructions and things like that. The submission instructions are right here, and it takes you to the forms, and it's very clean how you can do that here. But there's no way to still submit online, and CAS has a big advantage there. Do I think that AFA will eventually go over to an online submission form where you can just basically do drop-down menus, decide which grading tier and which speed you want, whether you want the UV upgrade or not, and do it all online and check out online? Yes, I do think that will happen eventually, but at least as of right now, they don't have it up. I think that's going to be kind of phase 2 for the website. Right now, you still have to either fill it out and type it in a PDF form and then print it out, save a copy for your files, and then obviously you include the packing slip with your items when you send it off to AFA. But in terms of actually ordering and paying for it online, the way Collector Archive Services does it so seamlessly, that's still not an option right now with CGA/AFA. But I will say that I'm most excited about the pricing tier codes and these turnaround times. As you guys know, if you're longtime watchers of the channel, that's my biggest complaint with the grading companies right now is the turnaround times. And if they can start delivering in a 14 to 21 day turnaround time for this premium tier, they will have my money. And I'm going to test it out in September, as I said. And, you know, do I think that they're there yet? Probably not. They probably still have a massive backlog, but I'm really excited by the new design, and I'm hoping that the next phase will include online submissions and paying, and then being able to track your submissions online. None of that is possible right now with AFA like it is at CAS. I love the transparency with CAS and uploading the photos and uploading the you know, the labels and things like that prior to them shipping it out. I would just absolutely be, you know, ecstatic if AFA could actually deliver that. But anyway, shout out to Charles W. He is Chris W.'s brother and also runs Rogue 5 Toys on Facebook. He was the one that alerted me that their website was now up and running. And we'll see if this pricing is kind of now the pricing. Like I said, they briefly had lower pricing than what is now displayed, but they have since returned it to the pricing prior to the website update. So my guess is that this is the final pricing. They wanted to get stuff up and running as soon as possible so people can start resubmitting or start, you know, with the submission process. But the other question I'll have is how AFA's grading will compare to CAS. You know, historically, it's always been about a half a point lower in terms of the final grade, but I've talked to many, many collectors that said that AFA has gotten even tighter with their grading scores. And that was my experience as well with those modern items that I sent as part of the great turnaround time experiment. It just seems like AFA has gotten even more tight with their grading. And I think it's too tight, quite honestly. So whether that kind of continues on, we'll see. But the collectors I've spoken with, these people are sending like 500, 600, 700 vintage Kenner Mocks, and they've all said that the grading scores that they've received over the last few months have been much, much more strict than in the past with AFA. So that could turn off some customers if, you know, AFA is tightening the reins even further than how they have been. And me personally, based on the items I got back, I think that they've reeled it back in way too far. And, you know, some of those items I got back, I really question the scores, but we shall see. But I just thought I would share with you guys the latest information from AFA's new website. It looks great, and I'm hopeful that you know, that this is a sign that AFA is listening to us, the consumer, and going to start delivering some of these services and some of the online submission process that we've been clamoring for years now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.